top of the page 104. Okay.
During the recitation of Kedusha, everyone should position his feet together so they appear as one foot. Why? Because it's written, and their feet were like a straight foot. In other words, we have to combine both feet to make it look like one foot, so they are exactly the same. When reciting the verse Kadosh, 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 and the verse Baruch, Kvod Hashem, Imloch, and Imloch Hashem, one should lift oneself up on the toes, raising one's body and heels. It is customary to raise one's eyes upward. It is desirable that one's eyes be shut when we recite, but the Hasidim will read it from the text, so we look at the book when we say the prayer, but we raise our feet, our toes, when we say Kadosh, 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 we jump 3 times, Baruch we jump once, and Imloch, he says that we do, but I know the Rebbe would not. Number 5. When the Chazan reaches the blessing Modim, the entire congregation bows and recites the Modim prayer instituted by the rabbis. It's called Modim de Rabbanan, the Modim of rabbis. It is customary to recite the entire prayer while bowed. In number 2, he says that there are other customs which require one to rise after reciting God's name. And that's the Chabad minhag. We don't bow for the duration of the Modim, but only at the beginning. Number 5. The following rules apply when a person hears the Chazan recites Modim while he is reciting the Shmoneh Esrei in a hushed tone. If he is in the midst of a blessing, he should also bow. If, however, he is at the beginning or the end of a blessing, he should not bow, because it is forbidden to bow at the beginning or the end of a blessing, except in those places where bowing was ordained by our sages. If you study, those of us who have been here before, learn that the first 3 blessings and the last 3 blessings we must bow when we say God at the end of the blessing, but otherwise it is forbidden. Therefore, if the Modim, the Chazan came to Modim, we bow down as long as we are in the middle of a blessing, not at the beginning or the end. Number 6. Before reciting the blessing of Sim Shalom, the Chazan adds the prayer Elokeinu v'Elokei Avotenu, which is the priestly blessing, in which the priestly blessings are recited. When I recite V'yasem v'yishmerecha, in conclusion of the first blessing, the congregation should respond, Ken yehi ratzon. I think I told you, and at amen, that this also applies when concluding the second and the third blessing with the words Yechoneka and Shalom. The Hasidic custom is to say amen. This prayer is added only in the morning and Musaf service, but not in the afternoon service. Nevertheless, on a fast day when the blessing Sim Shalom is also recited during the afternoon service, the Chazan also recites Elokeinu v'Elokei Avotenu. This prayer is not recited in the house of a mourner or in the morning service of Tisha B'Av. If someone is sitting Shiva, we skip Elokeinu v'Elokei Avotenu. Number 7.
Why does Chabad say Amen as opposed to Ken yehi ratzon?
Okay, so we had this discussion last time. The Amen, Ken yehi ratzon is something new. It's not recited anywhere else, and nobody can trace the source of it. Amen is part of Jewish law, Jewish tradition. So the question, the burden of proof is on Ken yehi ratzon, because that's something new, that's something strange. Amen is part of the Jewish tradition to recite. In Talmudic time they recite Amen. Number 7. After the Chazan completes the repetition of the Shmoneh Esrei, he should recite in a hushed tone the verse Yehi Yiyu L'Ratzon Imrei Fi, 1 line after the blessing. However, he need not take 3 steps backwards, for he may rely on the 3 steps he takes at the conclusion of the complete Kaddish. So, a Chazan who recites the Amidah do not go back 3 steps and just say Yehi L'Ratzon. Number 8. During a communal fast, when there are 10 people in the synagogue who are fasting and intend to complete their fast, the Chazan recites the blessing Anenu in the morning and afternoon service, between the blessings of Gaal Israel and Refainu. The following rules apply should he err and omit the blessings. This is the cantor, only the cantor. If he remembers before mentioning God's name in the blessing of Ainu, Rofech Ole Amo Israel, he should return and recite both Aneinu and Refaenu. He should repeat again. However, if he does not remember until after mentioning God's name, he should complete the blessing Refaenu, Rofech Ole Amo Israel, and recite Aneinu in the blessing of Shema Tfilah, Shomea Tfilah, of Shema Koleinu. In such an instance, he should conclude the Shomea Tfilah as does an individual and reciting the Aneinu in the Hash 18, and then he recites the Aneinu. If he forgot and did not recite it there either, he should recite it after the conclusion of 18, without concluding with a blessing. So he has two other chances to repeat as long as he mentioned God's name in the next blessing. Otherwise, he repeats it again. Number 9. The 18 should not be repeated out loud unless there are 6 men, the majority of a minyan, who have just completed the prayers. In other words, it's not enough to have a minyan in the synagogue. There has to be 6 men who pray together the Amidah. That's the only time that we can repeat the Amidah. If there are not this many, the 18 is not repeated out loud. Rather, everyone should pray as individuals. One person who has not recited 18 as of yet, instead of reciting his prayers in a hushed tone, should recite until the blessing of Akel HaKadosh out loud, and Kedusha should be recited. Then he should conclude his prayer in a hushed tone. It's called Hoiche Kedusha. If you don't have 6 men who prayed, but you have a minyan, so one of them should wait, and then he should pray out loud until Ata Kadosh, he say Kedusha, and then he continues the prayer normally.
It's also a minhag, where I come from. If it's close to the Shkia Zman, and you can't have, you're worried about it, to have a
Kedusha, right. Number 10. The following rules applies if a Chazan makes an error in the repetition of the 18. Wherever an individual must repeat his prayer because of an error, the Chazan must also repeat his prayer. There is one exception. If in the morning service of Rosh Chodesh or Chol HaMoed, the Chazan omitted Ya'aleh V'Yavo and did not remember until he completed his prayer, he is not required to repeat the 18, as opposed to an individual that does have to repeat, because of the difficulty it should cause the congregation. Rather, we rely on his mention of the uniqueness of these days in the Musaf prayers. However, if he remembers before he completed his prayer, he returns to Retzei, for this does not, it causes a significant difficulty for the congregation. Number 11. A person is obligated to recite Kedusha together with the congregation. Similarly, he is obligated to recite Amen after the blessings, Akel HaKadosh, and Shomea Tfilah, and to respond to Kaddish recited by the Chazan. Similarly, one is obligated to bow at Modim together with the congregation. And the same is Baruch Hu. Accordingly, a person who came to the synagogue too late to be able to pray together with the congregation, and hence must pray alone, should take care not to recite the 18 at a time when he will be prevented from responding to the above. Rather, he should wait, respond to these prayers, and then recite the 18. This applies provided the hour is not too late, because there is a time in which it's too late to pray. Nevertheless, he should not wait between the blessings Gal Israel and the beginning of 18, because the two must be recited in one continuum without an interruption between them. Therefore, he should pause before the phrase Shira Chadasha. So if I come to 18, and by me starting to pray the Amidah, it will cause me to not be able to respond to Kedusha and Modim, I should wait before Shira Chadasha and until the cantor pass that part of the prayer, and then I can pray. Number 12. Should a person reciting 18 alone conclude the blessings Mechaye Ametim when the congregation recite the Kedusha in the prayer, Uba Letzion, or in the blessing Yotzer Or? He should not recite Kedusha together with them, For these Kedushot are not on the same level of the Kedusha of the Shmona Esrei. If I came to Kedush Nakdishach, before Takadosh, where there is a time to say Kadosh, 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 and the congregation is saying Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh in Uva Letzion, or it says Baruch Hu in Yotzer Or, it is not the same, and I'm not the one who is in the middle of Shemona Esrei is forbidden from saying that. However, if the congregation is reciting the Kedusha of the Musaf prayer, even though he is reciting the Shemona Esrei of the morning service, it's a different Amidah, he may answer together with them. The converse also apply. Why? Since the Kedusha of the morning service and that of Musaf service are on the same level. Therefore, it is okay if the congregation is reciting Kedusha of Musaf and he is holding by Kedusha of Shachris and vice versa to respond together in the congregation. And we'll conclude right here.